guys, welcome back to Clockwork Dandy Noodles. This is my last video before I go on my little birthday break. If you have missed it, do check out that community post. Some of my videos are being bumped around because I'm going to be out of the country, then I'm coming back, and then I'm going to London. Quite confusing, but some videos are being bumped around, and the final ever, I feel like it's the ever, To Eternity Season 2 episode will be next week, which will be bumped. Your video is going to be bumped backwards to the Monday, if I recall correctly, but do check that post because I don't have the details to hand. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and also sticking with me. Even if you've just found me in this video, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking out my little breakdowns. If you've been with me for this season, hello again, welcome and thank you. And if you've stuck with me through episode number 1 all the way to this, I have got to say thank you guys so much. It's always really weird to have a show go on for at least a few seasons. People keep coming back and then have it finally come to an end. I'm gonna say finally for now because it does feel like next week's episode is gonna be it. Could be wrong, but it does seem pretty final with that final footage. It makes sense that we could technically come to the end and maybe just get an OVA to touch things up and finish them off. If you are a manga reader, you will have to let me know if I'm incorrect. As we always say, no spoilers. Do it in a way that doesn't give anything away but can confirm if there's going to be season 3. Do make sure you guys are subscribed. We are 5 subscribers away from being the cursed channel of 666. Make it happen for my birthday. My birthday is on the 11th. I would love to hit 666 for my birthday. We need to get going though because there's quite a bit to discuss this episode. It does feel a bit final. This is the penultimate episode. Uncle Bon, bestest form Bon, taking on the ability to actually haunt, which is quite nice. We have Bon and Bon on screen, which is great. I love the fact that they show him in his regal form with the tattoo wings. They're great. I like that because it distinguishes the humble Bon being Fushi and the big noble Bon who did the most noble sacrifice being the Bon that he takes on. And it's a very charming role because Fushi gains the ability to see ghosts, and then I started to cry. And for once, it wasn't my usual To Your Eternity is hurting me cry. It was a happy cry because all the way through the season we were so excited just to see March, but it's not just March we get to see. I know there's a lot of Gugu support in the audience. You guys must be over the moon right now. Gugu is back, Tonari back, we have March back, the music swelling as well is just absolutely perfect. It starts to creep and then it swells up. Fushi realizes that he was never ever alone. All this time that they've been around, you may not be able to see them, but they've been there by your side. Gugu returning in the penultimate episode is just absolutely perfect. It's a great gift. The duo returning, having our boys back together, March coming back, Tonari's alive, the owl is alive. Fushi's family starts to grow, and even by the end of this entire episode, it's a city of immortals. These are all people who have come back to life, and he could bring them back whenever he wants. People who have touched upon his life. Bon does eventually come clean. Bounced over quickly. Obviously, he had died at this point, so I guess it makes sense. It did feel like we could have had a bit more with this, and Fushi ends up just forgetting he was angry, which I guess makes sense. Especially after that massive sacrifice he did. Fushi being brought back by their desire is really nice because all this way through up until this point, he's had to bring people back, or he's coming back as people. This is the first time other people have used their ability to bring Fushi back to life. They tell us that they were given the choice. You can choose if you want to stay with Fushi or if you want to go over and pass over and you're happy. It does make me worried that the boy at the start actually never chose Fushi because he never met Fushi. He only saw the wolf and he presumed the wolf maybe would have died eventually. The thing the boy wanted the most was to see his people, the people who never came back for him. I worry that we're never ever going to learn his name, and it's probably going to be one of those things that even in a plot like this, you're not going to get all of your answers. There's always going to be something that you just don't get. Taking a bit more of a, we might not get a season 3, a bit more of a finite stance on this. It would have been nice to have learnt the boy's name. It doesn't also make sense that he would have stuck around for Fushi if he never met Fushi. I completely forgot that March never heard Fushi really speak, so I was absolutely cry happy that she finally gets to hear him speak. It's such a proud mum moment because he's come such a long way since pouting and stealing food from her and not being able to communicate, and we relied heavily on March for our plot. He has learned so much. Even through Fushi and his story, everybody else around him, all these forms, have learned that they also carry importance. Everybody's got something that they can do. I might not be that much help, but there's always something that I can do. Everybody has an ability that they start to appreciate, so it's a really nice bit of mutual benefit from everybody. Things do start to lighten up quite quickly. I do think the conclusion of the battle arc was really quick. Felt like the battle did drag on but it also felt like it just kind of cleared up because we start to share the burden. And once you start to share the burden, suddenly everybody's able to help. Everybody's able to quickly put everything to an end. I wasn't expecting Pincushion Bear to come back. Glad he's on our side and not on the Knocker's side, because they only really seem to use Perona's form. That's the only one they technically use. I did completely forget that March had a bond with the Pincushion. It's really nice to see her going over it there, being able to communicate with him and having him on our side and being able to ride him through battle, because he looks imposing. He looks amazing. That bear is really, really cool. Now, the board of friends at the halfway point has grown to just the people we have alive. Bon, I'm including, because technically Bon could come back whenever he wanted if maybe we use Perona's form, because I think he has got Perona's form. If he wanted to bring Perona back, he could. But at the moment, I think it's good to stay as Bon because he can actually talk to the ghosts. He has all these ghostly abilities, which is really, really good. I like the fact that in the board that Bon is so fancy. Look at the little frill he's got underneath him. He looks super fancy. I love it. Bon could easily come back whenever he wants. At the moment, I think it's good to stay as him. Nice relief to know that Bon isn't permadead. Echo. Let's talk about the wrap up for Echo. I am very glad that our girl is still alive. Echo being dragged up by the crows. It reminded me of those very surreal pictures of the boys being dragged up by red balloons. It's that postcardy type effect. But it was really weird because Fushi stalls going to see her despite the fact that he could see she's acting really weird. He sends someone else. He actually trusts somebody else. Before, I think he would have gone himself. Knocker is trying its best to drag her away from his reach, and it gets to the point when they're under an iron plate. Fushi can't go through iron or something, which is a bit weird. I was wondering if the fact that the Knocker was technically our season 3, with the Knocker going into Kahaku and taking away some of those forms, it seemingly takes forms with it. I was like, okay, this means we're going to get a season 3. If he escapes, and even with Kahaku, it means there's unfinished business, there's an unfinished storyline, but it did seem that the tease seems to be suggesting that the storyline is done. It looks like Kahaku takes a decisive role next week, which is sad because I would love more of the story, but I also wonder if maybe the story is nearly at its end. Maybe we've nearly got to the point where there's not much story left. The worrying thing was that the Knocker was in the boy form, so we were never going to get the boy back regardless. That form is not with Fushi. That form has left Fushi, and even at the end where we see the Knocker vanishing, quite a few forms end up going with Kahaku. Happy that Kahaku decides to save Echo. Not a fan of him calling her a dog. Don't like that. Even if he does something honourable, it doesn't absolve him from his crimes for me. He's still a character I'm not a fan of. I don't like. Echo ends up coming out of the story to go back to Fushi alive, and I'm very happy with this because I really wanted her to be saved because she's such a lovely character. She's so innocent. She's also the closest thing to Fushi in season 1. So Kahaku currently has the Knocker inside him. It was quite a cool fight seeing him going underground. Kai gets there, saves Echo, and then that's done quite nicely. By this point, it does seem that the Knocker is pretty much by his head. Do think that whatever action he takes next week is pretty much going to be final. It is a bit weird that the Knocker did actually take his opportunity. You could probably also guess that he is probably going to take drastic measures. So it's weird that the Knocker took the chance. The reason why I think Fushi couldn't kill Kahaku, more so Echo, even though he knew that they were possessed or they had the Knocker inside them, it's because he's still human. All this time we've been worrying about Fushi and his humanity, but this choice to me shows that he is still human at heart. He's not quite ready to enter the world of thinking properly or how you feel or things, or payback or revenge. He's not ready to enter that world. Once you go down the revenge route, it gets a little bit complicated, Fushi. And I'm very happy to see that Bon is glad that Fushi decided not to kill anybody and take this choice, because maybe he realizes too that Fushi is pretty much human at heart regardless. But yeah, I love the fact that he's all like, Bon is the bestest form and he's not in a hurry to come back yet, which is nice. I like seeing Bon and his voice actor leading the plot. It's quite nice. He's basically talking to himself, which is really, really weird. Bon is talking to Bon. The next bit, I don't know if I feel like it was a little bit too convenient, but bringing every single dead person back doesn't even have to create their forms, because Bon has that vision or has a power which is OP. He has a really OP power. Does seem to conclude our death arc, which just ended really, really quickly. It ended a bit too quick for my liking. It's those little hints that the story is pretty much running out of steam for me. Messar's other brother that we've never actually heard of manages to approach. Messar, how did you know that he was on approach? It was Fushi who gradually felt him on the edge of his outline. Then suddenly Messar knows he's there. I don't think you have Fushi's powers. It did feel a bit convenient again. This is obviously going to be our new king because Messar has no interest in becoming the king. He also seems to have gotten over the sadness of the princess. I was also a bit confused because the Knockers use her form but we were told that she couldn't be brought back because she had actually accepted her death and she didn't want to come back. I'm a little bit confused why they were able to create her form at that point. We are now left at the point with a whole city of immortal people. The arc is ended. I think next episode we're just going to wrap up Kohaku, and that could be it. That could be the last time Clockwork Dandy Noodles that we discuss To Your Eternity. I don't even know what this is, but I feel like I saw a picture of Fushi right in the modern period with like lights, neon lights, Japan, but that could just be a fan drawing, so I don't know if that is correct or not. I always thought this story stretched right into nowadays. I think the story has much steam left, so it would be interesting to see if that is the case. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys now in a little bit over a week. I can't wait to break down the final ever episode. Do expect a slightly longer video because my finals for every single anime, regardless, they're always a little bit longer. I'll tell you my overall thoughts. I'll give you my final score. Could be the last time I ever talk to you about Fushi, so we will see. Honestly, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. All of your support has meant so much to me because I get to talk to you guys. Talking to you guys is what was my motivation in the first place. And right now, I am debating putting a poll up regardless anyway, because I'm at a bit of a dilemma when it comes to the end of season review, whether I should go with what's popular, go by Mal results, do a top 3 based on what I think most people will appreciate, but can I be me? Because I feel like my real top 3 would be unpopular. That's my dilemma. I'm going to be sitting on that dilemma for a few weeks, so make sure you are tuned in and subscribed. There's going to be 2 videos going out. We'll have the end of season. Could be controversial or it could just be very untrue to me. We'll have to see how I feel. As well, we're also going to have the next season. To Your Eternity may be coming to an end, but there's going to be 4 new anime coming your way next season. Obviously, Vinland Saga continuing. That is one you know about. But there'll be 3 more shows coming to the channel next season. So hopefully you guys are watching at least one of them and we get to discuss a different anime. Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.